Hello, true readers. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I wanted to reach out to you guys to send a quick video message and to give you a project update. I know that I'm late delivering Resisting the Masquerade. I wanted to have that collection finished in October. And then working with my editor, Rebecca, me being late, working a lot, we tried to push it off to November, and now it's Christmas time. I'm really hoping to have the collection finished for everybody this winter, January, February. I know that it sucks. I know that you guys are very generous in contributing to the Patreon, and I'm really so thankful for each of you. And one of the things I like to make sure I do is make sure that a collection gets released every year, or close to every year, as a reward and as part of your contribution to this cause. But I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't see this as a sob story. I've been working as an Uber driver and now a Lyft taxi cab, jitney cab driver for the past several months, and Uber and Lyft keep cutting their earnings down on us because they can, because they're flooding the marketplace with desperate people who are seeking any kind of income to keep afloat, just like I was over the summer when I first started doing this. And they are using that flood in their marketplace as a way to diminish earnings. I don't know how else to say that. I'm not going to get into the political or ideological philosophies that I hold on these things, but that's what's going on. And I'm now working 6 to 7 days a week. I was working 6 days a week over the summer, but now I'm definitely at a 7-day work week most of the time. I'm not today. Today was Poetry Day. I got your guys' mailers done for January, and I'll be sending those out next week. And I also took the time to catch up on some personal items today, just bills and taxes and things like that, things you don't care about. But I just want to give you a quick update about that. I kind of promised more poetry videos because Patreon had changed the way they bill you guys. I guess they're charging sales tax on top of everything nowadays, which sucks. How you charge sales tax on creativity and the stream of consciousness that I provide to people and to other creators provide to their patrons, I don't know. It's just a mechanism. It's not something that used to be regulated, and now it is. But I also wanted to read a poem to you. This is the poem that's going to be going out in this month's mailer if you're a part of that tier. If you're not a part of that tier, you'll get it in writing in mid-January like I always do. But I just wanted to read it to you. This is something I had recently come up with. And it's something that I thought was a more positive message for the holidays. As you know, the work I do tends to swim in the more toxic parts of the mind, because that's where truth lives. Everything is sunny and lovely in Hallmark cards, but we know that Hallmark cards contain about as much truth as a thimble. So, but this one is a little bit more of a positive nature because it was my imagination. This one's based on my imagination, and I wrote it after seeing. Well, I'm going to read it to you first, and then I'll get into the whys. It's titled Imagined Love. A sheet of white paper, folded neatly in half, and without a blemish, lay in the gutter. While curious, I chose not to pick it up. On that summer evening, at dusk, the sky and the city lights became the dream. I imagined that paper was a handwritten love letter, filled with the enthusiasm of a youthful spirit. That was all right with me. This is a moment from back in the summer. Recently, I was huddled under a blanket, freezing to death in my house. My house is rather small and not insulated. And when wintertime comes, it gets chilly in here unless I crank the heat, which I don't like to do because that's wasteful to the gas. And, you know, I can take it. But anyway, I was huddled under a blanket and I started fantasizing pretty deeply about the summer. And this was a memory from that time, this past summer. I was delivering food in Oakland on Forbes Avenue, off Forbes Avenue. And I saw this slip of paper and right off the curb, right in this like dirty gutter. But the paper was not dirty. It was not crumbled. It was not blemished in any way. And it wasn't that far from my car where I was parked. And I was going to pick it up and read it and see if it was something interesting or worth keeping. And honestly, the rational part of my brain was thinking it was like a coupon or maybe a flyer of some kind for a band. Although we're living in a pandemic and there really aren't concerts right now. But I chose not to pick up that slip of paper. And the reason why I chose not to pick up that slip of paper was because I knew there was nothing really that good about it. It might have been a business report of some kind. Like I said, it could have been a coupon. I decided to kind of swim in my imagination a bit. It had been a hard day. I had been working a lot. I've been dealing with a lot of idiots, a lot of morons, a lot of COVID idiots not masking this summer. And I decided that my imagination can sometimes be far more interesting than what we often see hung on telephone poles or handed in a boardroom or a conference room. And therefore, I started to dream these ideas of a love letter. Not necessarily to me, but to somebody else. Young people. I was near the University of Pittsburgh at the time, so I just assumed this would have been like 20-year-olds falling in love. However, the poem itself, I chose not to delineate who the love letter would have been addressed to. I want you as the reader to interpret that for yourselves. Perhaps it's you. Perhaps it's one of your children. Perhaps it's one of your parents. This is part of the poetic experience. It's part of the artistic experience. When we sit in a museum and we gaze at a piece of art, we bring ourselves to that art. That's why it's powerful. It's powerful because we say it's powerful, not because the artist says it's powerful. All the artist can do is give you a part of himself or herself. What we bring to it is what makes it soar. Anyway. Okay. I'm not really good at this video thing. I'm not a podcaster. I'm not a video caster. I'm not, I feel a little weirded out and nervous doing this. For someone who's usually the big, giant, bald, I don't know. I'm not a tough guy, but you know what I mean. You know who I am. But yeah, doing this is weird to me. But anyway, I wanted to do it for you. I will try to make more poetry videos. I don't know if this is something you guys care about. And right now I'm beginning to meander my thoughts and my words. But yeah, I love you all. Thank you for your continued support. And really, I just wanted to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I mean, it's the end of the year. We're living through a pandemic. It's just terrible out there. I am seeing people scrape, man. As a taxi driver, you'd think that like a taxi driver, like a Lyft or Uber driver, I'd be picking up a bunch of, privileged business people going to and from the airport or going in between the bar or each other's homes so they don't have to worry about driving, much like a limousine would do. But no, actually, the bulk of my fares, to use that word correctly, the bulk of my passengers, they're the underclasses. They're the working classes. They're me. In many ways, they're me. And they are scraping. The stories I'm hearing are heartbreaking. People have nothing. And they don't have cars. and they have to scrape the few dollars they have to pay for a taxi. And if it were up to me, I wouldn't charge them half of what these companies charge them. It's disgusting what these companies are charging people. I took a woman from Monroeville. I'm sorry to get into this with you guys. Maybe you don't want to hear it. You can always stop the video. I took a woman from a young woman too, a young mother, from Monroeville, Pennsylvania to McKeesport, Pennsylvania. Okay. Now that's about a 9-mile ride. It took us about 15 minutes to get there. Out of curiosity, I don't usually ask the passengers this, and I'm not privy to this information. But I asked her, I said, how much are they charging you for this ride? I'm just curious. And she said $32. $32. If you make minimum wage at McDonald's, which one of my passengers did, not this woman, but other passenger one time. If you make minimum wage at McDonald's, $32 is about half of your day's earnings after taxes, just to get home. That is absurd. That makes no sense to me, So this is what people are going through right now. I'm getting a lot of material as a writer doing this work, but I'm not writing about it a lot because I don't want to create objects out of these people yet. I want to find a way to bring the humanity to it a lot more so than just spectacle. Perhaps someday when I write long-form fiction or long-form nonfiction, I will approach it then. Perhaps some of these stories will find their ways into my poetry. I'm sure they will. They'll have no choice. Because that's just how the brain works. But I'm not purposefully bringing these stories to fiction yet, or to poetry yet. Okay. I hope you guys have a wonderful New Year. If you have any questions about the Patreon or about the next collection coming out, if you have any gripes or concerns or anything, just reach out to me on Facebook or on Patreon. That's fine. Or Twitter or Instagram or wherever. Or email. And I'll get back to you. I hope you guys are doing great. I really do. I thank you so much for your support. There aren't that many of you anymore. There's a handful of you. And you guys are there for me, and I want to be there for you. Okay. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.